Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be about trying to conceive while breastfeeding, which is something that I definitely struggled with. It took me a lot longer than I thought it would, and a lot of the things that I read about were not helpful, and a lot of them were very redundant. So basically, it just didn't help me for a really long time, and I did stumble across something that finally did help me conceive, and I am now 13 and a half weeks pregnant. So I am so anxious to share this and hope that it helps someone who is in a similar situation. So with that being said, let's just get into the video. So when my daughter was 6 months old, we decided to start to try to conceive. We wanted our children to be close in age, and when we conceived my daughter, it was luckily, and we were very blessed, but it was very easy to conceive. And so I wasn't sure what it would be like the second time. I hadn't had my cycle return at 6 months postpartum. I didn't know what to do to get the return of my cycle, except everything that I read said that I needed to slow down breastfeeding and essentially, I mean, for a lot of women, they had to stop altogether. And that was just kind of devastating for me. Like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna do this? Because I was exclusively breastfeeding. She breastfed around the clock. We co-sleep. So the idea of Evie, me taking that away from her or trying to slow down it just didn't rub me right, and I just didn't want to do that or rush her in any way. And so that was really tough for me. And but we did start trying to cut back. I tried to lengthen the times that she would nurse. They recommend stopping between the hour 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. and that just wasn't possible because she wakes up throughout the night, or she, especially back then, woke up consistently and, would just calm herself and noo and go back to sleep. And so it just didn't work. I tried and tried and tried with just lots of frustration. I got an ovulation test kit off of Amazon. This is the Easy at Home. It comes with the ovulation strips and then also the pregnancy strips. And I went through one whole thing of these trying to chart my ovulation in the beginning, and I had them taped to paper, and I was trying to find any kind of pattern or any kind of spike, or if I had, lessened the amount of time I was noo-nooing her, or she had kind of had a bit of a break, did that make my ovulation almost get there or spike or anything like that? And I didn't find any correlation between the two. I didn't find anything really helpful in doing that, and I definitely didn't get a positive ovulation. So it just was more frustrating than anything, and I decided to stop after a few months of that. And after that, I got this fertility. It's an herbal supplement, and it has Vitex in it, which stimulates a hormone involved with ovulation and helps restore normal female hormonal balance. And I did take this for a little bit, but I ultimately decided to stop because some women say it's okay, some women don't. Some websites say it's not the best, because what can affect your hormones can also affect baby's hormones through the breast milk. And so that just concerned me, and I felt like ultimately it wasn't worth the risk and we would get there in time anyway. So I discontinued taking this, but a lot of people do take it and say it's fine. And so that's really a judgment call for you mamas out there. But it may be worth a try, it may not be. It's something that I tried for about a week and gave up. So after about 4.5 months, I was so frustrated. I was kind of at the end of my rope. I wasn't getting any sign of ovulation returning. She wasn't slowing down on nursing at all. And I just thought, this isn't gonna happen. I mean, she'll be 1.5 years. What if it goes on till 15 months, 16 months, I have no return on my cycle? Because she just noo-nooed all the time. And I thought, okay, so our kids are going to be a couple years apart. And honestly, the thought of that really just, it was hard for me to take because I have a brother who's close in age and we were always so close. And so I really wanted to fix or to find a solution to this issue. So one night I just stumbled upon this article by Alpha Parent, and what I read was completely different to anything that I had read previously. It didn't say anything about having to slow down or stop breastfeeding or stop between the hours of this or that, or that you may have to stop altogether. None of it. What she talks about is, or what they talk about is shocking your body through nutrition can jumpstart your fertility or bring the return of your fertility. And particularly in this article in reference to breastfeeding and lactation and getting the return of your cycle. And I was just blown away. And it makes so much sense to me, because if you are someone, or if anyone who's struggling with anorexia, bulimia, or just doesn't have access to proper nutrition, one of the first things to go is your fertility, is your cycle. They're just hand in hand. They really, your body is this, it's just delicate balance. And so it made so much sense to me. And my diet had been okay, but it certainly, I hadn't been really trying to get in a lot of calories, trying to have a lot of sugars. I hadn't been pumping my body full of nutrition. I'd been doing okay, but I'm running around after my, well, not running around at that time, but, well, yeah, she was crawling pretty early. So I was just, well, taking care of her and busy with everything in life. And I wasn't taking the best care of my nutrition. And I was even avoiding certain sugary foods because I wanted to get back down to my previous weight and all that. So this was like, whoa, light bulb moment, something I can try, something that was different than anything I'd read before. And I was just so eager for another option. And I went for it. So I started eating a lot. I started having my cake and having my ice cream and having juices. And I would, actually juice from home. So not everything I did was unhealthy, but I was kind of, I just sort of did a free-for-all. I just enjoyed myself. But I did try to be healthy sometimes and just pack my body with nutrition and do green juices at home and lots of fruits and lots of avocados and healthy fats and just really charge my system. But particularly your insulin. It's an insulin spike, which helps kind of shock your fertility. And so I allowed myself to just indulge, and it's also interesting because my milk was amazing production, and also I felt so good. Man, I felt so like I had so much energy. I could really feel my body starting to kind of respond in a way. In a positive way. And 2 weeks later to the day, and it's worth noting also that my daughter was breastfeeding a ton during this time. There was nothing but an increase because there was more milk production. It must have been better quality. And also she had been a little under the weather, and so she'd been really new-newing for comfort and for nutrition. And so she was just going to town, and I had no idea, no inkling that I could or would get my cycle back. And 2 weeks later to the day, I started getting these really strong cramps, and I was just, it was unmistakable, and I could not believe it. And so, I had stopped taking those strips or checking those strips for ovulation, and I just ran and pulled them out, found it and pulled it out and took it, and it was just blaringly positive, and it was like almost as good as getting a positive pregnancy test, I swear. After so many months, it had been, what was it then? 5 months of trying to get my cycle back, trying to ovulate and not being able to get it back. I was really frustrated at that point, and I realized I know it's only just like a sliver of what people go through, so I'm not in any way trying to compare or trying to say I had this terrible time, but the truth is I was frustrated, I was down, I was really, and just so hopeful that this would work. And it did. And so I got that positive ovulation strip. We tried to conceive, and that time wasn't successful, didn't take. I got my period 2 weeks later, but it was a little bit shy of 2 weeks. So I think my luteal phase, which is the time between your ovulation and period, was too short. I think it was really about 7 days, 7 or 8 days. And it's supposed to be 10 to 12, I believe. So I continued eating that way. 2 weeks later, after I got my my period, I had another positive ovulation. We tried that time, and we were able to conceive on that second try. And so it just blew me away that it was successful, and that it was successful so quickly after I started, that immediately my cycle was back, and I was recharged and able to be fertile and able to conceive, and here we are, and I'm 13 and a half weeks, and I'm just like so grateful for that article. And I think to myself, what if I hadn't read it or found it, or where would I be? Would I still be struggling? Or maybe would have returned at this point. My daughter is now 14 weeks old, so maybe it would have gotten there, but I'm just so grateful for the article. I will link it below, and I just hope it can be helpful for somebody out there who is struggling and finding themselves in that situation. I know everybody has different reasons for wanting to conceive again soon. Anyway, best of luck to you. I hope you can find something helpful in this. I surely hope you consider giving this a try. It really worked for me beyond a shadow of a doubt, and I wish you just all the best of luck on your journey, and just positivity and good vibes and prayers your way. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.